Continuing with the series bridge course for class 11th physics, this video is an attempt to explain a very important concept in physics, differentiation, which will be which is basically a part of integral calculus in mathematics, but frequently used in physics, and hence the students of physics must understand this concept. It's all the more important to understand this concept here because the calculus forms part of class 12 mathematics syllabus and we need it here in class 11. In this, we'll try to understand differentiation. We'll define differential coefficient and also study some common relations used for differentiations, basic rules for differentiation, and then how do we use differentiation in physics. That is a few illustrative examples which will explain why differentiation is used in physics. Very important topic and requires a bit of concentration and extra attempt on your part because you are new to this topic, calculus or differential calculus. In order to understand the term differentiation, we must know what does a mathematical function mean. The mathematical concept of function is important and useful because it helps us to study various physical phenomena and express them in mathematical form. So, what does basically a function mean? If value of a quantity y depends on value of another quantity x, then y is said to be a function of x. That is, if x changes and it also results in change in y, then we will say y is a function of x. We use the notation y equal to fx to represent this mathematically. That is, y is a function of x. Y equal to fx indicates that y is a function of x. I repeat, if x changes and the change results in a change in y, then y is said to be a function of x. In the notation y equal to fx, y is called dependent variable and x is called independent variable. We can understand further with the help of illustrative examples. Observe a plant growing in a pot. The height of the stem of the plant increases with time, and we say the height of the plant is a function of time. The time here is an independent variable, and height, because it changes due to with time, we call it a dependent variable. Another example, observe motion of a car on a road. The speed of car generally continues to change with time. So again we say, we can increase it with an accelerator or we can reduce the speed with the help of the brakes. We say that speed of the car is a function of time. The time is an example of independent variable again, and speed of the car here is a dependent variable. A very important concept is the concept of rate of change, because the rate at which a particular quantity, maybe height, maybe speed, maybe acceleration changes, is important for studying a particular phenomena. In the example cited above, the height of the stem of a plant may increase from say 10 centimeter to 18 centimeter in 4 days. This is just an example. The change is 8 centimeter in 4 days. So average rate of change of height of the stem is 2 centimeter per day. If the speed of the car changes from 10 meter per second to 20 meter per second in 4 seconds, the average rate of change will be 10 divided by 4, that is 2.5 meter per second square over the given period of 4 seconds. Let us now try to find the rate of change of speed of a car at a particular instant, say the 10th second of its motion. It's not 10 seconds, it is at 10th second of the motion. We would then need to find change in speed of the car in a very short time interval. For example, 100th or 0.01 second around t equal to 10 second. The rate of change of speed of car at that instant would then be the ratio of the very small change in speed to the very small corresponding time interval which we choose. Remember, if we take the time interval 10 second to 14 seconds, we will get an average rate, whereas we are not interested in average rate of change, we are interested in rate of change at 10 seconds. So we have to be very close to 10 seconds to get that instantaneous rate of change of speed at t equal to 10 seconds. The rate of change of speed will be more correct if the interval chosen gets smaller, maybe less than 1/100th of a second, say call it 1 by 1000 or still smaller. The corresponding change in speed would also be very small around the value at 10 seconds, because if the time interval chosen is smaller, the change in speed will also be small. In the limit of time interval approaching 0, small means, for example, we have taken 1/100th or 1/1000th or still small. In the limit of time interval approaching 0, around t equal to 10 seconds, the implied division would almost approach the division of 0 by 0. Almost 0 by 0 and not exactly 0 by 0, because it's a term which we don't never define. The mathematical technique of differentiation helps us to find such limiting values of the rates of change. That is, we should be very clear about it. We want the rate of change at t equal to 10 seconds. So time has to be close to 10 seconds. The interval has to be very, very small. So the corresponding speed change will also be small, and the ratio of change in speed to the time interval taken, very small time interval taken, will be almost 0 by 0. So in order to avoid this 0 by 0, what we do is we follow a mathematical method of differentiation to get the value of instantaneous rate of change at t equal to 10 seconds or any other instant of time. The differentiation helps us to find such instantaneous rates of change. Here we will try to study the concept as required in physics without going into the mathematical rigor of the functions and the limiting values, because what we need is we have to apply differentiation in physics. We don't have to actually derive the relations. That will be a part of your class 12th mathematics syllabus. The limiting value of rate of change of quantity y with respect to quantity x is called differential coefficient of y with respect to x. It is also known as derivative of y with respect to x. The instantaneous rate of change of y with respect to x is also called the derivative of y with respect to x, and it is denoted by the symbol dy by dx. The symbol dy by dx. The term dy by dx implying the rate of change of y with respect to x is calculated mathematically by finding the value of ratio delta y by delta x, that is a small change in y to the corresponding small change in x as delta x approaches 0, because as stated earlier, the value of delta t, the small time interval chosen, or delta x in this in general, has to be very, very small. Remember, dy by dx is a complete symbol and does not imply d into y divided by d into x. You can never cancel d in numerator with d in denominator. That will be meaningless. It's one complete symbol, dy by dx, which indicates the differential of y with respect to x. The differentiation can also be linked to the graphs, as we will see. We already learned that the mathematical relation y equal to fx, showing an interrelation between y, the dependent variable, and the independent variable x, can be pictorially represented through graph between y and x. If the graph is linear, we get a straight line, and if the graph is non-linear, we always get the graph as a curve. Here y has been plotted against x. The shape of the graph is a straight line, which shows that the graph is that of a linear function. For a linear graph, slope of the graph is constant and is equal to differential coefficient of y with respect to x. Remember, differential represents the slope of the graph of y with plotted against x, or it also measures the rate of change of the function y at a particular instant of time. Now let's consider the speed time graph as shown. The speed of the car is continuously changing. It is a non-linear graph. Supposing we ask ourselves a question: what is the rate of change of speed of the car at a particular instant, say 10th second of the motion? The point is marked on the graph. We would then need to find the change in speed of the car in a very short time interval, say 1/100th of a second, or smaller, around t equal to 10 seconds. The rate of change of speed of the car at that instant, that is t equal to 10 seconds, would then be the ratio of change in speed to the very small time interval chosen. We progressively reduce delta t, as said earlier, say 1/100th, 1 by 100 to 1 by 1000 to 1 by 10,000 and so on, so that it approaches 0. That will give us better value of the instantaneous rate of change. In the time interval taken close to 0 or approaching 0, the slope of the graph, that is delta v by delta t, you can see delta v and delta t in the graph, divide the two. it becomes dv by dt, or differential of v with respect to time, which gives us the rate of change of the speed at the instant t equal to 10 seconds. The implied division would mean very small change in to very small change in time. That is, it will be a division of almost 0 by 0. Since 0 by 0 cannot be determined and very small quantities dividing will be difficult, so we depend on mathematics. That is, we find the differential. Recap. We just repeating what we have studied. It's a very important concept, so don't mind repetition. It will make the video slightly longer, but it is worth the time you spend on this video. Defining differentiation. The limiting value of the rate of change of a quantity y, the dependent variable, with respect to the quantity x, the independent variable, is called the differential coefficient of y with respect to x. It is also known as the derivative of y with respect to x, derivative or differential of y with respect to x. The derivative of a function y or fx is also denoted by y dash or f dash x. We write the differential of y with respect to x as dy by dx, which is limiting value of delta y by delta x as delta x approaches 0. Mark the words clearly: approaches 0 but never 0. As close to 0 as possible, but it should never be 0. We repeat, dy by dx does not imply the division d into y divided by d into x, and you cannot cancel d in the numerator with d in the denominator. d dx is one complete symbol which mentions differential of y or differential of the function. We cannot cancel d in the numerator with that in the denominator, because individually they have no meaning. It is just one complete symbol. The term dy by dx implies the rate of change of y with respect to x, or derivative of y with respect to x, or differential of y with respect to x. These are the same. Physical significance is rate of change of y with respect to x. This is a golden statement and must always be remembered. It's calculated mathematically by finding the value of delta y by delta x or by differentiating y with respect to x. In the example of the moving car given above, delta t represents a very small time interval in which a small change delta v takes place in the speed of the car. dy by dx, that is differential of y by x, let us suppose we denote it by z. It may depend on x, it may not depend on x. We now know that dy by dx measures the rate of change of y with respect to x. Likewise, dz by dx will measure the rate of change of z with respect to x. We write dz by dx, or differential of z with respect to x, as d dx of z, means dy by dx. This is d square y by dx square, called the second derivative of y with respect to x. Again, note here, d square y by dx square doesn't mean d into y divided by d into x. It is again a symbol which shows that y has been differentiated 2 times with respect to x. Mathematically, we can further differentiate uh, the result obtained in order to get the third derivative or fourth derivative or fifth derivative. It may not have any physical meaning. This will be clear from the example below. So if you have a function, you can differentiate it once and write it as dy by dx. You can differentiate twice, write it d square y by dx square, or 3 times as d cube y over dx cube, and so on. That is third derivative, fourth derivative, and so on. We may not always need to find them, as will be clear from the examples which follow. Suppose the displacement y of a particle is a function of time and is given by y equal to t to the power 4 plus t cube plus 2t square plus 6t plus 7. Then dy by dt gives differential of y with respect to time and is equal to 4t cube plus 3t square plus 4t plus 6. This is what represents the rate of change of displacement with respect to time. That is, it gives the speed of the particle. How we get to this expression will follow later, but remember, the differential of y with respect to time, this differential of displacement with respect to time gives the speed of the particle. So this gives us the formula for speed. Please wait for explanation. It will shortly follow. We may further differentiate v with respect to time. So dv by dt will be ddt of v or dy by dt, which means the second derivative of displacement with respect to time. This will be 12t square plus 6t plus 4, and it will represent the rate of change of speed or the acceleration. Once again, I repeat, how we get to this expression, please wait for it. Just take it as the second differential. The acceleration we know measures the rate of change of velocity. So mark, if y is the displacement, depending on time, we have dy by dt or first differential giving the speed, and d square y by dt square, the second differential of y with respect to time, giving the acceleration or rate of change of velocity. Mathematically, we may further differentiate acceleration to get rate of change of acceleration. However, any further differentiation does not correspond to any defined physical quantity, and therefore we don't carry out such differentiations further. That is, third derivative has no meaning, and therefore we will not differentiate acceleration further. In physics, we carry out differentiation as long as the resulting function has a physical meaning. Now, here are a few relations which give us differential coefficients of some commonly used functions. The first function is x to the power n, and the differential is n x to the power n minus 1. That is, this is called a power function. Old power n multiplied by x to the power n minus 1. Reduced power reduced by 1. Similarly, differential of sine is cos. Differential of cos is minus sine. Differential of cotangent x is minus cosecant square x. Differential of secant x is secant x, sectangent x, and differential of cosecant x is minus cosecant x, cotangent square x. These are the relations which we have just stated. The derivation and explanation of the same is a part of class 12th mathematics syllabus. and we will not be detailing it here. You have to remember these relations and use them freely in physics as and when required. There are some basic rules in differentiation which we will study one by one. Again, I repeat, the detailed derivation is a part of class 12 syllabus and you have to forget about it at the moment. Number one, derivative of a constant function. Fx is equal to c means irrespective of value of x, f always attains the same constant value c. Then f dash x or differential of f with respect to x is 0. Why so? Because differential measures the rate of change and constants do not change. Therefore, rate of change of a constant function is always 0. As an example, if fx is pi, then differential of f with respect to x will be 0. Second, derivative of a power function. That is power rule of differentiation. If fx is x to the power n, we already have this relation in the table on the previous part of this video, then the differential will be n x to the power n minus 1. Illustrative example, if fx is x to the power 7, then differential will be f dash x equal to 7x to the power 6. Old power 7 multiplied by power reduced by 1. So what we do is, in order to find the differential, we reduce the power by 1 and multiply it by the old power. Another example we will take, if fx is x to the power minus 3 by 2, method is again the same, old power and then reduce the power of x by 1. So that will lead you to this expression, minus 3 by 2 divided by x to the power 5 by 2. Number 3 rule, derivative of a function multiplied by a constant. That is, if fx is equal to c multiplied by ux, then differential of f will be the constant taken as such and we differentiate ux. Example, if fx is 4x cube, here c is 4 and ux is x cube. We know the differential of x cube is 3x square. So f dash x will be c into u dash x or 12x square. Differential of x cube is 3x square multiplied by that constant 4. So you get 12x square as the derivative. Next is derivative of sum or difference of functions. If fx is ux plus minus vx, it may be plus vx or minus vx, then differential of f is differential of u plus or minus differential of v, as the case may be. That is, the functions ux and vx are to be separately differentiated and then we add or subtract the two. As an example, if fx is 2x to the power 4 plus 3x cube, we have to find the value of f dash x, or we have to find the differential of f with respect to x. So here ux is 2x to the power 4, the first part, and vx is 3x to the power 3. So we find out u dash x separately, v dash x separately, and then we add them. That is, the result will be 8x cube plus 9x square. Another example for difference, fx is equal to x4 minus sin x. Here ux is x to the power 4 and vx is sin x. So we differentiate ux separately, vx separately and subtract the two differentials. That is, the result will be differential of x to the power 4, that is 4x cube, minus cos x, because differential of sin x is cos x. Derivative of product of two functions. The derivative of fx equal to ux into vx is given by f dash x, or first function, that is ux, multiplied by differential of second, plus second function, that is vx, multiplied by differential of the first function, that is ux into v dash x plus vx into u dash x. Illustrative example, we have fx is equal to sin x into x cube minus 2x. Here we have multiplied two functions. Fx is a product of two functions. Sin x we take it as ux, and x cube minus 2x we take it as vx. Differential here will be calculated. For that we differentiate u as u dash x equal to cos x, and differential of second function v dash x is equal to 3x square minus 2. Therefore, f dash x is equal to first function, that is sin x into differential of second, plus second function, that is x cube minus 2x, multiplied by the differential of the first, which is cos x. So you can simplify it and get the final result. For quotient, the rule is differential of denominator the denominator multiplied by differential of numerator minus numerator multiplied by differential of denominator divided by the denominator square. An illustrative example for differential of the quotient. We have fx is equal to tangent x over 2x plus 1. We have to find f dash x, that is, we need to differentiate the function with respect to x. Here ux is tangent x and vx is 2x plus 1. Therefore, differential of numerator, that is differential of tangent x, is secant square x, and differential of denominator is 2. You can use ux, u dash x, vx, v dash x to get f dash x as detailed here. This is the relation stated earlier. Substitute the values and get to the final result, that is differential of f. The chain rule. Here we have y a function of u and u a function of x. In such case, to differentiate the function, we have to differentiate f with respect to u, that is f for y. You'll get dy by du multiplied by differential of u, which is a function of x. Example, we have the function y equal to a sin omega x, and we have to find dy by dx. Y here is a function of omega x, so omega x is u, and u, that is omega x, is a function of x. So here we will be needing the chain rule to find dy by dx. U is omega x. We have dy by dx is equal to a cos omega x, because this is u. So differential of y with respect to u will be a sin u, or a cos u or a cos omega x. Then differential of omega x will be omega, because omega is a constant term. So you can get the differential here as omega a cos omega x. Then some problems for practice. These are some simple problems. You may solve these problems using the relations that you have studied. This question number 5 is a different question. For this, you have to use the relations which we are studying in the following section of the video. The answers are here for your reference. In physics, sometimes we come across a special function which is known as the exponential function. E or the exponential function. E basically stands for sum of an infinite series. E is equal to 1 plus 1 over 1 factorial plus 1 over 2 factorial plus 1 over 3 factorial. Here 2 factorial means 2 into 1, 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1, 4 factorial will mean 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 and so on. The value is 2.718. So E is the base of the exponential function. It may be e to the power x or e to the power minus x. That is, the power may be positive or negative. The graphs of the function are as shown. This is graph of e raised to the power x. Likewise, this is graph of e raised to the power minus x. Differentiation of such function: if y is e raised to the power x, then dy by dx is e to the power x. Similarly, if y is e to the power minus x, the differential again is minus e to the power minus x. If y is fx equal to e to the power z, where z is a function of x, then dy by dx is e to the power z multiplied by dz by dx. Here we have used the chain rule that we have studied earlier. Now, having studied differentiation, some elementary parts of differentiation, let's see how differential is useful in physics. For this, we will take some illustrative examples. First example is, you have displacement y of a particle given by y equal to t cube minus 3t square plus 9, where y is in meter and t is in seconds. That is, y is a function of time. We need to find the average speed of the particle during first 4 seconds, time when the speed becomes 0, the instantaneous speed at t equal to 3 seconds, instantaneous acceleration, that is rate of change of speed at t equal to 4 seconds, and instant when the acceleration reverses its direction. Here is the problem again for your reference on the screen. For solution of first part, you have to find average speed during first 4 seconds. At t equal to 0, y is 9. You simply have to put t equal to 0 here. You will get y equal to 9. Similarly, you put t equal to 4 seconds, you get y equal to 25 meter. The average speed then will be total distance over total time. Total distance means 25 minus 9, which is 16, divided by the time 4 seconds. So average speed during first 4 seconds of motion is 4 meter per second. For the second part, you need speed when you need time when the particle is at rest, that is time when the speed is 0. For this, we will have to calculate speed. Speed from displacement. We know V is dy by dt, rate of displacement with time. So differentiate t cube minus 3t square plus 9. Differential of t cube is 3t square and differential of minus 3t square is 6t and differential of 9 will be 0. So you get the expression for speed V as 3t square minus 6t. Put speed to be 0, which will imply t equal to 0 second or t equal to 2 seconds. That is, there are two instants of time when the speed of the particle drops to 0, that is, the particle is at rest. For the third part, you need instantaneous speed at t equal to 3 seconds. You already have the expression for speed as 3t square minus 6t. Just simply put t equal to 3 seconds to get the speed at this instant, which comes out to be 9 meter per second. Fourth part, instantaneous acceleration, which means the rate of change of speed. For this, we need to differentiate the speed with respect to time. So you will get a equal to dv by dt, that is 6t minus 6. 6t is differential of 3t square and 6 is differential of 6t. And then put value of t equal to 4 to get the acceleration as 18 meter per second square when time is 4 seconds. The last part is the instant when the acceleration reverses direction. Now the expression for acceleration is a equal to 6t minus 6. So acceleration is 0 at t equal to 1 second. That is, the value of the value of a will change its sign at 1 second. For t less than 1 second, acceleration is negative, that is, it is in a particular direction. And for t greater than 1, it will become positive. So the direction is reversed at t equal to 1 second. Another example, the electric charge q transferred through a conductor varies with time as q equal to 6t square minus 6t plus 3 coulomb. What is the value of current at 2 seconds? When does the current become 0? From our knowledge in physics class 10, we know that the current is rate of flow of charge, that is I equal to dq by dt. So you have to differentiate the expression for charge. 60 square differentiated gives you 12t and 60 differentiated gives you 6, and differential of 3, the constant term, is 0. So the current is 12t minus 6 ampere. At t equal to 2 seconds, the current will be 18 ampere, and the current becomes 0 when time is half a second, 0.5 second. Yet another example, the displacement of a particle varies with time according to the equation y is equal to a sine omega t. You have to obtain expression for the particle velocity v and particle acceleration a. For solution, we take this expression for displacement. Using chain rule, we can get the velocity. Therefore, we get v is equal to omega a cos omega t. This is a question which we have discussed earlier as an example. So changing cos to sine, you get omega a sine omega t plus pi by 2. So here you can see the displacement, the angle is omega t, the velocity, the angle is omega t plus pi by 2 when we use sine as the expression. Further, to find the acceleration, you have to differentiate the expression for velocity, which leads you to minus omega square a sine omega t, because here you have to differentiate cos omega t. So that will give you minus omega sine omega t. So overall the expression will be minus omega square a sine omega t. Now minus sine omega t may be written as sine omega t plus pi. If you look at this expression here, omega square minus omega square can be left aside, and a sine omega t is y. So you can write acceleration as minus omega square y. This is a special type of motion where acceleration is proportional to displacement and is directed against it. Negative sign indicates that y and acceleration, displacement and acceleration are in opposite direction. This is a special type of motion which we call simple harmonic motion. You will study this motion in detail in a later lesson in class 11. This is the graph for y is equal to a sine omega t. This side we have omega t, which is also called the phase. The displacement of particle in simple harmonic motion. This is velocity of the particle in simple harmonic motion. You can see here the graph begins with 0, 0. Here the graph begins with 0 and peak or maximum value. This is graph for velocity. Because in velocity expression the phase is omega t plus pi by 2. We have a different angle, so the starting point is different. Similarly, for acceleration, the graph is again different. This is in opposite phase is as compared to the graph for displacement. Anyway, the detailed study of such type of motion, that is simple harmonic motion, you will have in the lessons that follow. You have learned that y is equal to a sine omega t represents a special type of motion which is known as the simple harmonic motion. As stated, a is proportional to displacement and is directed opposite to y. This is definition or equation for simple harmonic motion. Here is a problem for practice. We have displacement of a particle varying with time given by the equation y equal to a cos omega t plus phi. You have to obtain expressions for the particle velocity v and particle acceleration a. For curious readers who are interested in more problems in differentiation, here is a link. You may go through the lesson content and you may try the problems that are included in this list. Subscribe to our channel CBSE 042 to get update on new videos which are loaded periodically. For any feedback, you may write to the mail ID on your screen. Should you need more topics, notes, questions, you may visit our blog. Happy learning. Thanks for being with us. It's a CBSE 042 presentation. Coming up next is another extremely important topic, integration. All subscribers will be notified in due time. Thanks a lot.